I want to thank Renew for actually having invited you here. I pray that your day will be spectacular. But right now, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to some and present to others the Chief of Energy, Environment, and Open Space, Mr. Austin Blackman.
Well, thank you so much for the introduction. You know what? Let's see if I can just pull this. Everybody here okay? Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really, really thrilled. I had a chance to meet with a lot of you before coming up to the stage. This really is something that I am passionate about doing. Some of my favorite events that occur in the city of Boston are organized by Renew Boston. And you know, beyond all of that, I'm just so thrilled to be here, and thanks to the 12th Street Baptist Church for hosting us. I'm an only child. My parents don't live in Boston, and so I talk to them every Sunday. I give them a call, and every Sunday my mom asks me, Austin, did you make it to church today? And so I'm really, really thrilled because tomorrow I'm going to be able to go tell her, Mom, I made it this weekend. I did it. But in all seriousness, the best part of my job is being able to help people. It's why I really, really love my job. It's what gets me excited every morning. And I'm looking around the room today, and I know Renew Boston in this program, and I see a lot of people that we can help today. I see a lot of seniors here today that we're going to be able to help them stay in their homes. I see a lot of people who want to help make Boston a cleaner, healthier place to live and work. I see a lot of people of color in this room today who are going to be able to take advantage of a program that's designed for everyone in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that is not always the case, and Renew Boston is going to help make sure that everyone is going to be able to take advantage of these incentives. But you know what also really touches my heart? I'm looking around this room, and I see youth in this room, learning about what energy is, how it works, how it costs, how they can work with their family members, how they can work with their community to stretch budgets a little bit farther, and have that impact on their community. So developing those good habits that these youth are doing that today, good habits that, you know, myself included, didn't develop until later in life. They're going to be the next generation to really carry the city of Boston forward. And, you know, whatever's happening in D.C., I'm fired up today because we're going to be able to make a difference here in Boston, working together with Renew Boston and making sure that we're making Boston as a beautiful and wonderful a place to live as possible, because we're getting a chance to help people in this room. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce a person who's been making a difference in Boston for his entire career, someone who I'm really, really proud to call my boss. As a laborer, as a state representative, and now as your mayor, Marty Walsh has been making a difference in Boston his entire career.
Yes.
I'm really, really proud to call him my boss, and I have to tell you why. Marty Walsh cares about people. You know, I had the pleasure of walking with the mayor a couple nights ago for our homeless census, and you know, hour by hour, block by block, we were walking around and talking to some of our most vulnerable residents here in the city of Boston. And I saw the mayor talk to a homeless veteran. His name was Clint from Tennessee. Talked to him for about 10 minutes. I saw him talk to a young lady who's struggling with recovery and sharing his own personal story, telling her how she could connect to the city and resources that were available to help her along her path, and literally doing this for hours. He didn't have to do that. He's got 18,000 employees. He didn't have to just, you know, stay and talk for 10 minutes, shake hands, take a couple photos. No, he really connected with these people because he cares about people. Marty Walsh is in this room right now because he cares about people. He cares about all of you. He cares about how your homes are, how much you're spending on energy, how we can bring that down, your well-being, your safety. And so I'm very, very, very proud to bring to the stage, I hope you'll join me with a big round of applause for your mayor, Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Austin. First of all, I want to thank Austin and his team, who does an incredible job for the city of Boston on everything energy, but what we're talking today about Renew Boston Trust. I want to thank him. I want to thank Pastor Gerald and everyone here at 12th Baptist. I don't know how many, I know many of you celebrate your church here. Austin, I don't know if that counts when you tell your mother tomorrow that you came to church, but try whatever you want. Just make sure you leave a little money in the basket upstairs for Pastor Gerald. If you're going to take credit for going to church, pay for it. But I want to thank Pastor Gerald. This church here in Boston, as you all know, is where Dr. Martin Luther King celebrated when he came to Boston. He preached from upstairs, and I remember when I was running for mayor and I came here and Pastor Gerald talked about that, and when I had a chance to talk from the altar upstairs, it was powerful because this church is about history of Roxbury, history of Boston, history of the United States of America, history of the world. So I want to thank Pastor Gerald because today we're talking about energy efficiency. Tomorrow we could be talking about, tomorrow in the church we'll be talking about people and God, and Monday the NAACP might be here talking about advancement of colored people, and Tuesday we could be talking about crime, and Wednesday we could be talking about something else. But every single day down here, right back here, we have young kids in this church, in this sacred place, learning. So I want to thank Pastor Gerald, and I truly mean it. He's a good friend and a great human being, along with Reverend Brown and everyone else here. Lourdes Lopez, thank you from Renew Boston and the Renew Boston team. National Grid, thank you. Eversource, thank you. Boston Home Center, thank you. Mass Saves, thank you. All of those programs are helping folks with weatherization in our city. I want to thank the Elderly Commission as well, working with everyone. See, the beauty about this program is that we all work together. It's not people aren't in silos. Everyone's working together to really make a difference. I'm proud of the Renew Boston Trust program. It's a pleasure to kick off the new year and a celebration with this program with you. This program has been around, it was launched in 2009. And when you think about that, it launched under a different mayor with a different administration with different people. And in 2017, this program is still going strong, actually stronger than it was ever. And it's about looking at something that works. Also in 2009, a new president of the United States of America was sworn into office. And what that president said at that particular moment, he started talking about climate change, global warming, and making sure that people had good energy efficiency in their homes across America. And in 8 years, the policies in Washington, D.C. were really strong policies coming out of there. And they were really focused on how do we deliver clean energy and how do we deliver, making sure, not just delivering clean energy, but how do we make sure that homeowners can save some pennies on their bill? Because pennies on a bill adds up and makes difference over time. And Austin touched upon this. We do have a new administration in Washington, and their policy we're unsure where they're going with their policy on climate change. And one of the first things they did was they took off the webpage a lot of information that the Obama administration did on climate change. So that's not a good first sign, which means that it's up to cities and towns around, not just Boston, but around America, to continue to move forward. And I was at the conference of mayors 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and we were talking about three big issues. One was climate change, one was the Affordable Care Act, and the third was immigration. And we talked about those three issues because those three issues have economic impacts on American people. They all have economic impacts on American people. We had a mayor from Arizona talking about the Affordable Care Act, that if it's repealed, it could bankrupt one of his hospitals, his only hospital in Arizona. Now this is a Republican mayor, not a Democratic mayor, not somebody who supported President Obama, Bernie Sanders, or Hillary Clinton. This is somebody who's a Republican. We talked about that issue down there. We had another mayor from California that talked about immigration, and he's Republican. And he said that if immigration gets turned over the way it's talked about, he's going to put his city at a competitive disadvantage because the immigrants that are in his city are the ones doing jobs that other people wouldn't do. And then we all talked about climate change, both Democrats and Republicans across the board, saying there are problems here. Because in Boston alone, in this country, we've seen more days last year above 90 than any other period in the history of our country. Just look at Boston the last 3 years. 2 years ago, 2015, we had the largest snowfall in the history of our city, over 10 feet of snow. followed up by the warmest summer on record, followed up by a winter that really wasn't that bad because we didn't get a lot of snow. So I'll tell you, something's wrong there. Followed up by this summer, we didn't go into a drought, but for all intents and purposes, if we weren't doing our job, we would have a drought in Boston. We had less than an inch of rain all summer long. So it doesn't take an expert or a scientist to tell you there's something going on. And that's something that's important for us. So when Renew Boston was launched in 2009, we didn't have the highest snowfall. We didn't have the warmest summer. We did to that point, because every decade it gets warmer and warmer and warmer. But what we did have is a program that is benefiting and looking at helping the people of our city. Since then, 40,000 homeowners, landlords, renters in Boston have saved money and saved energy and improved air quality. So what happens is, by saving money in your home, in your pocket, we're also saving the world, and we're saving the environment around us. We've received national attention for an innovative approach. It's easy to get involved, and it produces big results. Renew Boston is a big reason why Boston is a climate champion around the country. We are #1 for the last 2 years, climate champion in the country. And before that, we were up at the top, something that was important. Whether you work with Renew Boston before or this is your first workshop, thank you for being here. You are part of something good. Those of you that might be thinking, how am I going to save some money? Every little bit helps. So we think about, there's a few seniors in this room. I just want to tell you a couple things that the City of Boston's done. Number one, we've worked with the water and sewer to get a 30% reduction in your water bill. If you don't take advantage of that, take advantage of that. Contact the Elderly Commission. I think there's some people here from the Elderly Commission today. So if you own your own home and you have a water bill and you're paying your bill and you don't take advantage of the 30% discount, take advantage of the 30% discount. Because if your water bill is $100 a month and you're not taking advantage, your water bill will go from 100 down to 70. We've also worked with the utilities, and we're working with the cable companies, with Comcast, to get better rates for you. So we've been able to get a better rate for internet service to your home. We've been able to also work with them to get better rates for TV for you. And that used to be a $5 discount. Now it varies. It's higher than that. We also are working on making sure that this year, everyone in Boston, but seniors in particular, are going to get a discount on an abatement on your taxes. And that's another $300 savings. So when you think about them individually, they might not be that big of a savings. But when you think about them collectively, that's a pretty big savings. And now you talk about energy. And if we're able to work with you and help you bring your costs down, now all of a sudden, your savings are $200, $300, $400, $500 a month that you're potentially saving in your home by adding everything together. So that's why this is important for you. And for the folks that aren't seniors, it's important for you as well. Because as I see little ones here, your bills over time, if you're able to save money, that's a lot of money compounded over the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years that you will be able to reinvest in your home and reinvest in your kids. So that's why it's important to be involved here today. We're always going to continue to make sure that we make families' lives better. Whatever happens nationally, in Boston and around America, I can say this for New York and LA and Philly and Atlanta and Miami and Seattle and all those cities that I talk to mayors around the country, we are going to make sure that people's air is clean, homes are safe, and their environment is healthy. That's the pledge we took 2 weeks ago, to work collectively. So our obligation here in the City of Boston is to keep our end of the bargain up, and we're going to continue to move forward. This program represents boots on the ground, making things happen. We want to also make sure that getting involved in Renew Boston Trust not only save you money, but it's going to make your homes, apartments, small businesses healthier, more efficient, more comfortable year-round. So we're also going to help you with just making sure that you live in a very good environment, that you understand that. When I first got elected, and no, actually I wasn't elected mayor yet, before I was a mayor, we came out with the energy audits in homes, and I had a bunch of people. I signed up with the City of Boston with this program, and I had them come over, and they looked at my house, and they came back, and they said, okay, you have a beautiful house. It's only 4 rooms at the time, but you're losing a lot of energy. What do you mean? With windows and doors and different things, and turning the heat on and keeping it on hot all day and turning it down and turning it off. And I was able to get some tips about how can I actually save money and save energy, be more energy efficient, but also live more comfortably and understanding that. And so this program does work. There are concrete actions that we're going to make our community more resilient. We're going to continue to work with our partners and the utilities on storms and power outages. And a couple weeks ago, we had a big power outage right across the street here. And it was hurtful. It was painful because it was a cold night. And what we don't have to do is blame each other, and we don't have to blame utilities. What we got to do, and they're here today, we got to say, okay, how do we work with the utility companies so that we can make sure we can manage our power better, so something that happened at Warren Gardens last 2 weeks ago doesn't happen again. And that's again part of what we're doing here today. So I ask you all to really take part in the next step of Renew Boston Trust. I'm not going to go too much. You know what I'm talking about. And I want to thank you for being here. This is important. Now, this room should have hundreds of people in it, but what's going to happen is today we have the folks that are in this room. And when you leave here today, after you get a chance to hear what's going on, we want you to make sure you go out and tell your friends and neighbors that, well, wait a second, there's something going on in the city, and you're going to contact Austin's office, and we're going to be helpful to whoever we have to be helpful in the city. I want to thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate you all being here. I want to thank, again, in particular, I want to thank two groups. I want to thank the 12th Baptist Church for opening their home to us today, and I want to thank all of the City of Boston employees that are here today working to make sure that we deliver the services to the people that we represent the way we should. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mayor. Just real quick, we're going to take an intermission, but before we do that, I just want to go around the room. If you do have any questions about the program, I want you to know the city employees who are here to help you today. So if you're with, well, first let's start with Lourdes Lopez, who runs Renew Boston, our amazing, wonderful, bilingual person. If you're more comfortable speaking in Spanish, she can help you with that. It's something that we take a big pride on at Renew Boston. We actually translate materials into 6 languages to make sure that everybody has access to that program. So Lourdes Lopez, she's going to be leading the session later today. Jeff Vaz, also from the Environment Department on Renew Boston. Christopher Rusk, who works in the Environment Department as well. Lauren Zingarelli, also from the Environment Department. We've got Elena, also from the Environment Department. I believe we've got representative, the communications director from Boston Water and Sewer. If you can just raise your hand as well. If you have a question about what Mayor Walsh was talking about in terms of lowering your water and sewer bills, she can point you in the right direction as well. We've got the commissioner of the Environment Department, Carl Spector, who's here today as well. Anyone that I missed from the city of Boston?
Susan D. Mateo, Boston Home Center, DNB, home repair funding.
If you've got questions about home repair
Just
funding.
jump on that, just so you know, on the home repair. In the last couple of years, we have helped 700 families, elderly families in the city of Boston, with some home repairs, and also we've been able to work with a bunch of families on replacing your heating systems. So if you have old heating systems, let us know. We can help you with that. Something that's really important that take advantage. These are set up for you, so they're not set up for not to be done. So we want to spend the money in there. Whatever we have, we want to spend it because it goes right back into the community, right back to homeowners.
I know I've spoken with a handful of you that have home repair questions, maybe not even related to energy, but if you've got questions for that, the Department of Neighborhood Development's here to help you with that as well. We've got representatives from Mass Save, the state program that's really responsible for a lot of the funding that's here. If you've got a question about Mass Save, you can ask the gentleman from Mass Save about that as well. And we've also got a representative from Eversource Utilities today. We've got 2, John Hoey, their Director of Community Engagement, as well as James Cater, who works on energy efficiency. James, if you can just stand up and raise your hand and be recognized. If you have questions about anything along the lines of your energy bills or how Eversource might be able to help you, please reach out to them. So with that, thank you again so much. We're going to take a quick intermission. We've got wonderful food and some coffee. Kathy
Tobin from ABCD.
Oh, Kathy Tobin from ABCD. And if you have any questions around her organization as well, she can certainly help you out. But again, just from the bottom of my heart, this is one of my favorite types of events because we get to help all of you. We've got a huge staff here to point you in the right direction and get you these resources. So we'll take a quick break, get some food. We've got wonderful empanadas and also a Dominican cake that Lourdes was kind enough to bring. And thanks again so much to everyone. We really appreciate it.